Hey everybody, Josh here, aka Sorcerer's Hat, and I'm back with another Disney Lorcana video. I'm back also from my mental health break, which was very nice. I ended up taking an extra week just because I felt like I kind of needed it, and I had some stuff going on. But I'm back with another video, and Wilds Unknown has launched. I have like multiple pre-release boxes just sitting on my desk. There's a bunch of cards everywhere. I got everything sorted, but there was a phenomenon with this set that seems pretty much confirmed, even though Ravensburger's never said anything publicly about poll rates or anything like that. But we do know basically at this point that the poll rates for Wilds Unknown are much greater. There's a lot more legendaries going around. It feels like there's more enchanteds. Iconics kind of feel the same, although I saw multiple people opening them, so I don't know if iconics are more or less rare than they used to be, but I'm hearing people say they're kind of the same. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the people I'm around are opening a lot of boxes and stuff, and they're just finding them, so that could be part of it. But as far as I can tell, at least legendaries are much easier to get this time around. So what we're gonna do for this video actually is just talk about the pros and cons actually of this whole thing, like having things be more accessible or more readily available inside of packs. I will say there's a lot more pros obviously to this, but there are some cons that I don't really hear people talking about. But I would say I mostly fall under the pro. I think it's a good thing for the game overall, and I think it's a good thing just for honestly everybody, because if you look at a lot of my comments, especially in the video about like singles versus boosters, people are like, man, the hit rates on boosters are so low, it's like not worth to buy them. So I will say now that this is kind of a thing that's happening, I'm gonna have to go back and redo all my product reviews that involve packs, so the Trove one, and probably a singles versus boosters video, probably a brand new one. Although I think the ultimate, spoilers, I think the ultimate thing is that singles are still better, and actually they're even better now. Like, it ironically, you'd think the booster packs would make like having them be a lot more generous, I guess is the word I would say, would make them more appealing. It's still better to just buy the cards you want or need, especially now because they're very, very cheap. So we'll just start with the pros, because honestly there's more of them. And I just kind of brought it up. Legendaries are really cheap right now. If you think back to like Fabled, a lot of the legendaries that weren't reprints, so like Dumbo and stuff, were getting to like $50, and then we had Whispers in the Well, and we had stuff like Cinderella on the first weekend was like $60. I think she's probably dropped in price, but she was like $50-$60 for a long time. Dumbo, same thing, $50-$60. And that's not even the foil versions, that's just the normal versions. I don't know that I ever really calculated how many legendaries you would get in a box prior to this set. I want to say it was like 3 to 5 at the most. Probably on average you'd get 4, probably. It kind of depended. Like some boxes were better, some were not so good, but yeah, it really depended. By the way, if you hear a bunch of squeaking in the background, it is very windy in the Bay Area today, and the garage door that's over here loves to squeak. So I'm gonna do my best to knock that out in post-production, but if you hear it, then I failed. But I'm gonna, I can't do anything about the wind. So anyway, yes, legendaries are really cheap, and I think what's great about that is going into rotation, which is happening in the next set with Attack of the Vine, decks are going to be a lot cheaper, which is actually another bullet point I have on the pros thing, but it's going to make decks a lot cheaper. Prior to this, decks were, depending on what you wanted to play, if it was like a very meta deck, sometimes those legendaries could push it into a few $100s. Like the most recent example is something like Demona, who for a while she was like $25-$30. I think she's dropped probably to like $15 probably now, but I haven't checked in a while, because I thankfully opened I think all of mine like really early on, so I didn't have to think about that. But yeah, so legendaries much cheaper. I think the most expensive ones I've seen for Wilds Unknown are like the Snow White, and then I believe Woody. I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong about that. And they're like $3.50, which is a gigantic change. Now, I will say there is some caveat to this in that a lot of the cards in this set are not super great for core right now. They're okay. But once we hit rotation, and we're going to lose sets 5 through 8, right? Yeah, sets 5 through 8. It's going to be a totally different world, and those cards are suddenly going to be amazing. So, I mean, this is not financial advice, but if you're missing a lot of legendaries, I would honestly buy them now because they are dirt cheap. Like, most of them are $1. So, you know, if there's any meta ones you're going to need right now, like Woody, I think especially is one that you should probably just pick up because it's only like $3. And he's really good, and he's going to be the basis of probably a yellow-green toys deck. I think you just get them now because you're only going to spend like $15 for a whole playset, basically. Same with like Snow White, like the Snow White with the Dwarves package. Even though we're losing Steel Dock with rotation, she still seems like she might be pretty good, and she's about $3.50. Again, it's like $14 maybe to get a whole playset, $15 maybe, and she's probably going to continue to fall in price as the set, or, you know, more people open packs, because, you know, this is only week 2 when I'm recording this, so the prices have already dipped on a lot of things. But yeah, I guess I should talk about the hit rates themselves a little bit too. Like, yeah, like I was saying before, the boxes were about, I would say about 5 legendary, 3 to 5 legendaries. I think 3 is pretty bad, but about 5 legendaries per box, I would say. I think the average legendary count has gone up for sure. I opened 3 boxes, and I believe in every single box I opened, I got about 7, which doesn't sound like much of an increase, but when you think about it, that means that every 4th pack in the box basically has a legendary. So legendaries are about like 25%. Which again doesn't sound like a lot, but some packs I opened had like 2 in them. I had a lot of people open packs that were like 2 legendaries and something really good. I'm pretty sure my Trove, which we'll talk about Troves in a minute because I have to do a full new Trove video at some point. The Trove I opened had 5 legendaries and 2 epics in it, which is insane. And if any of you've watched my previous Trove video, the you know, is it worth it and all that, which again, we'll do a new one. That's crazy because the previously, I think the Troves had like 1 on average, 1 legendary. And I even had someone in my comments saying that they had none in one that they opened, but generally is 1 to 2. 2 was pretty rare, but I would get 1. But yeah, the Trove I opened for this set was 5, and I believe 2 epics. 2 epics were pretty common. Some people got 3. Some people got more. Cases also seem to have more enchanteds. On average, people would say that a case would have 1 enchanted. Sometimes they didn't have any, but most of the time it would have 1 enchanted. The case I opened for Whispers in the Well actually had 2. And that was pretty rare. That was very surprising. I think more on average now, it's about 2 per case and 1 if you're unlucky. I'm sure there are some people getting cases that don't have any, but I would say that's probably an outlier. I saw multiple people who bought a case over the weekend opening pretty much 2 enchanteds per case. So they do seem to be a bit higher. I have to make at some point an entire video about these. This is the pre-release pack. Which came with 6 booster packs and some dice and stuff and all that. I opened about 3 of them, and they are kind of hit or miss. The very first one I opened had, I want to say, 2 legendaries in it, which is pretty good for the 6 packs. And then I believe it had 2 epics, so not bad. A few of the people I went to the very first pre-release with, actually their pre-release packs had an enchanted in them. I've heard reports, some of people getting iconics in them. Like, they're actually kind of stacked. And I think that's probably on purpose. And I'm sure the Troves are kind of the same. You get a little bit more bang for your buck, I think, than getting a box. But it's hard to tell, like, you know, because most people are just opening them and not thinking about the numbers per se. The second one I opened, though, was not super great. I think it had maybe 1 epic and 2 legend, and maybe even only 1 legendary. I forgot to count when I opened it, but I remember not being super enthused. But the third one I opened had, I believe, 2 legendaries and 3 epics inside, which is kind of crazy. Like, epics to me, we'll have to do a whole video on epics at some point. I don't find them super exciting yet. I think once they finally get alt art, then they'll be a lot more exciting. But right now, I get them and I kind of go, oh, okay, neat. I kind of wish you were something else, you know? Especially when you see the borderless and you think, oh my god, did I get an enchanted? And then you look and it's like Epic Rex for the 3rd time. And you're like, well, okay, sure. You know, I'll take it, I guess. Yeah, maybe I might have to do a video on epics at some point. I think one of the other pros for this is that it does make, I guess, pack opening more excited. To be fair, I am not someone who finds pack opening very fun anymore. Just ever since I started playing this game and opening a lot, I just don't care. There are a lot of people I play with that really like the experience, but I have found that I have some sort of curse where any booster pack I touch is immediately cursed and I'm not getting anything good out of it. It's just not going to happen because I don't open anything. Like, I opened 3 boxes. I got 1 enchanted. I got the zipper enchanted. But like, everybody around me is getting like iconics and multiple enchanteds and all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, cool. You know, I'm sitting here not getting really anything, right? And that's always been the case for me specifically in the game. Like, I didn't get an enchanted. I've been playing this game since before it came out, and I didn't open an enchanted until set 4 was the first time I opened one. And I was opening 100 plus packs like every single set. So just bad luck, I guess. Although I did, in first chapter, I did open a discard card, which I believe is worth a pretty good amount of money. It's sitting in my safe, but nevertheless, I wanted an enchanted. Either way, I think the idea that like the epic hit rate and the legendary hit rate and to an extent the enchanted hit rate are higher, while it does drive the prices down, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I do think it actually is good for people who are new to the game or who just pick up some packs because they see Woody or Buzz, and they want to see what this is all about, like because they're maybe coming from Pokemon or something. And I think more opportunities for those people who are not super engaged to open something that's like really shiny and cool looking, like getting that epic Rex that I'm not super excited about, you know, to a 10-year-old who really loves Toy Story, that might be really cool to them. They might love that, and then maybe they want to actually play the game. So I think that is way better. You definitely want to get people excited about opening stuff and like actually experiencing the game, whereas before it was so stingy that it just didn't feel like it was ever really gonna happen. So I do think that that's a really good change, and while I did write down it does make pack opening more exciting, personally I don't think it makes it more it didn't make it exciting for me, but that's just me. I don't find it exciting anymore. Most of the time I find it kind of frustrating, and you leave trash everywhere, and then I have to sort everything and go through everything, and it's just a whole mess, right? And I could just buy the singles, right? But I do want to support my local game stores by buying products. You know, I want to keep them happy and have them have stuff and run events for us, and I want to be a part of that, you know. I want to try and get the iconic or something, and you know, it's like they say, you don't win the lottery if you never buy a ticket. So yeah, I think overall the changes to packs is pretty great for the game. I did see there were some like people with just all these conspiracy theories about like, oh, they're gonna lower the hit rate, you know, once Attack of the Vine comes out and stuff, and I just really don't think that's gonna happen. because everyone loves it. I think universally everyone in the community basically loves this change because they're just getting more of what they want more frequently. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about some cons that I actually think, while they're not that big a deal, I just am interested. I haven't seen many people talk about this aspect of it, and I'm interested to hear how people feel about it. I do have a certain way I feel about it, but I would say I still am mostly 99%. I'm like, this is a great change. Like, good job. Because I think the game needs to be, decks need to be cheaper. The game needs to be more accessible to more people, because the game has sort of stopped growing and it sort of needs that injection of new people, which I will say, like, Fable did a good job of that. There's a lot of people in my locals that I've met who I'd never met before. I've been playing this game for years, met before, and they were like, oh, I started in Fable. And I'm like, okay, so clearly Fable worked to an extent, right? Let's get on to cons. The one con I think that this sort of does to the game is it makes a lot of the things you open not worth as much. And that's only going to really affect certain people. Like, personally, I don't really care, if the things I open are worth like a lot of money. But I do have some very expensive Lorcana cards. Like, if I sold my entire collection, I would get like tens of thousands of dollars probably for all of it. But I don't really want to. Even if this game like shut down tomorrow, I don't think I would get rid of my cards. I don't think I would play another card game, to be honest, just because I don't like any of them as much as I like this one. But it is a thing, right? Like, some people want those like really expensive legendaries, and earlier I think I did say that like Woody and Snow White were the most expensive legendaries in the set. Actually, I think it's Dale who is the most expensive, but even then, you look at the price of Dale, he's like $15, which, yeah, like, that's a decent amount, but compared to like some of the stuff we had before, like when Rapunzels were going for like $50 and stuff, like, that's that's a lot more, obviously. But I think there is, since the Pokemon stuff's been happening, I think there is this weird thing happening in games where people are not treating these as games. Maybe this is a subject for an entirely different video, but like, to me, this is not an investment portfolio. This is a game. This is a thing I play, and the cards that I buy are game pieces to be played with. They are not a thing that I'm storing away for value later, or that I'm going to sell for more money. I don't think about it that way. Despite the fact I have some very expensive cards, but like, I don't care. Like, I'm here for the community and I'm here for the game. So yes, it's kind of a con, but I think it's a con in a sense that, reselling your cards later, if you want to do that, or you get extra copies of like a Snow White or something. You paid $6 for the pack and you're getting only like maybe a $3 legendary right now. It's probably going to be worth less, later. Not worthless, but worth less, right? So I mean, but I also am the kind of person who thinks that like opening a pack doesn't mean that you should get more value than what's in the pack, because it's just impossible. Like, that's never going to happen. You're going to have those packs you open that are definitely like, oh, I paid $6 for this and I got $50 worth of stuff out of it. But that's just not, that doesn't happen, right? It's like, those are the rare moments where you get excited about stuff, right? But I think if you're a collector who is like trying to collect and wants this like long-term thing that's going to hold value, like, I don't think this is it, right? Like, I think some of the enchanteds and definitely the iconics will hold value, and that's kind of what they are. But like, we no longer have, I think, this world going forward where we're going to have $50 legendaries. Like, I just don't think that's gonna happen now, because they're just too common. Like, now they're so much easier to get. Like, I think something like Dale is probably in the upper echelon. I think the highest you might see a legendary go from a set that's, not foil might be like $25 maybe. And that's got to be one that's just so sought after that people just have to get multiple play sets of. But even then, I think the days of $50, you know, Dumbos and stuff are just kind of over, to be honest. At least for sets going forward. I think for sets from the past, because the hit rates were so much lower, I think a lot of those cards will still hold some kind of value. Although cards that rotate do lose a lot of value, and that happens in so many other games. It's not just a Lorcana thing. So again, I think maybe this is a topic for a full, like, other, you know, video about just treating things like card games as games and not as something else. But I think my final con is sort of related to it, and it's that it makes the singles market less valuable. I think what I mean by this is that it does incentivize stores to not open as much product or to carry singles maybe at all. And the reason is because opening product and trying to sell and either recoup the cost or make a profit just isn't profitable for stores now. So if you're trying to go to a store and like get stuff early, chances are they won't have anything, because the chances are they're probably not opening that much. And if they are, they're really hoping for those enchanteds and iconics, and you're just not going to see them as much. So it is kind of interesting, and it's a con for a very specific part of not even the audience, just a con really for people that just buy and sell cards. That being said, I think if, you know, a store is going to carry singles and stuff, they're probably going to just buy the singles from people who are opening packs, and they're just going to sell the packs because it's going to be a lot more profitable to just sell those. And as far as I can tell, the stuff from this set's selling really well. It's kind of hard to find stuff right now, even at our LGS. I think they're like limiting stuff for buying, but also for like prizes for like the local league and all that. And today is supposed to be full big box release, I believe. And I went to one store unrelated to look for something else, and they didn't have any. So I think, you know, I think packs are probably the way to go if you're trying to buy and sell. I think the singles market for this game now is basically just enchanteds. And even then, a lot of the enchanteds in this set are not that expensive. And honestly, I don't think they should be too expensive. I even would, honestly, at this point, I don't think I would mind if it was an enchanted per box. Like, I don't think that's too unreasonable. And then you just make the iconics super rare. Or maybe at some point they add a rarity between iconic and enchanted where it's like maybe one per case. But I think like enchanteds are just really exciting for lots of people, myself included. And they just look really cool and I want to have them, you know. And I think they're a little too hard to get. And right now, I just don't think epics really fill the space that they were supposed to be filling. Again, I think that's a full other topic. But yeah, man, hit rates, they went up. And it's kind of interesting. I think this is mostly positive for the game going forward. I'm very curious by the time we hit Attack of the Vine what the kind of how people are feeling about the game. We do have some big events coming up. We have Dortmund coming up very soon, and then next month we have the Indianapolis DLC, which is Infinity, which I will be there. So if you see me, say hello. I'd be more than happy to talk with you. I will also be at the North American Continentals Tournament that's at Disneyland. I'll also be at the D23 CCQ that's happening in August. Both of those are happening in August. Past that, I have no idea. I think we get a lot of news probably at D23 because we will be in post-rotation, and we do know that the first CCQ for Season 3 is the one at D23, which is before Continentals has even happened, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know if they're going to announce Season 3 ahead of when even like Worlds takes place for this season or not. I honestly have no idea. A lot of the rumors that I've heard, it's a lot better, but we'll see. That has nothing to do with pack hit rates. But, you know, what do you guys think? What did you guys open in your Wilds Unknown packs? Let me know in the comments. And if there's any like pros or cons that I didn't think of or didn't touch on in this video, please let me know. And I'll see y'all later. Boy, love you.